Hello, one and all. Jasper here, joined once again, as always, by DJ Fella, here to talk about the most recent episode of Hot D, episode 3. And boy, was it an episode!
It took one season and 3 episodes for them to reach season 8.
I mean, I think it took them one season and 9 episodes, because
No. We established even at the time of episode 9 that was only level of season 6 stupid.
Maybe. I don't know. My opinions continue to deteriorate. And overall, like, even before we got to the final scene that kind of is so stupid, the episode itself was a very big nothing burger. Like, I just didn't felt like there were any, like, good moments or even really bad moments. It just was bland. It felt like a filler episode.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I don't remember a lot. Like, that last scene wiped my brain. After I finished the episode, I the only thing I cared about was that last scene. So as we go through it, I'll probably remember what some of my thoughts were on each aspect of the episode.
Yeah, so in that case, we can just kind of get started. And we are at a little mill going around, and we see some Bracken boys. And there's a bit of a confrontation between them and the Blackwoods.
Yeah, for sure. These guys. All these cool guys.
And do you remember the Brackens and Blackwoods from the previous season?
They were in the previous season?
Yes. So in the books, the Brackens and Blackwoods are both houses or families in the Riverlands, and they have some major beef between one another. Like the reason being, it's, they mention in the show it's lost to history, but it's really just two different accounts from both sides. I think the Blackwoods claim that the Brackens used to be servants to them, but then they stole the Blackwoods horses and then founded their own family. It's just like little snitches like that, and their hatred for one another has lasted generations and generations. But in the show,
it sounds like a real Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Great Divide sort of situation.
Just about. We just need someone to show up and be like, no, that's all a lie. But
it was all just a big game of ball.
They didn't steal no horses. He was borrowing it. He just forgot to turn it. Anyways, in season 1, though, remember when Rhaenyra was looking for a husband and a young Blackwood boy was trying to offer himself and a Bracken made fun of him?
Oh, I do kind of remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so they at the very least have hinted and kind of discussed the Brackens and Blackwoods, which makes sense, as obviously these are the two houses that are the first to really battle and go to war with each other in this Dance of Dragons.
Yeah, so it was this long-haired kid that tried to marry Rhaenyra.
No.
No, just a different...
Yeah, these are like kind of, I'm assuming, distant cousins of those of the two who were at the prospect of proposing to Rhaenyra, because the Bracken was, I think, killed. It's possible he survived, but the little boy fucking stabbed him through the gut. He falls over and starts coughing up blood as his father comes to him. So I think that Bracken's definitely dead.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is...
Wait, and so which one's Brackens and which one's the other one?
So Brackens are the guys on the right in the yellow with the red horse. Brackens are horses, and Blackwoods are a weirwood tree with crows around it. Though I don't... Hold on, let me look a bit closer. Because the guy...
I don't see an emblem or anything on them.
Yeah, less emblemness on them. But I will say, this is probably the first time in the history of A Song of Ice and Fire where the Blackwoods come off as the bastards. In every in every other event, when the Blackwoods and the Brackens are like spoken about, the Blackwoods are always like the good guys and the Brackens are just the fucking worst. So it's nice that this is the first time the Brackens don't come off as the major antagonists.
Yeah. Sure.
But anyways, we get a little back and forth. We get a little arguing, set up, lots of setup. Eventually, the Bracken boy draws his sword and cut to his lifeless corpse. And we just zoom out and see the carnage of what took place.
Yeah, they got a little jump start on the old war.
Mm-hmm. And boy, like, it's a very gruesome scene. You can see the windmill still kind of turning as it's like smoldering from the fire.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'd be critical on is like, and granted, I'm not an expert on like medieval battles by any means, but the bodies strewn in such a manner with corpses of both sides just seems a little over the top in a way. Like, even Battle of the Bastards wasn't this fucking ludicrous.
Yeah. I mean, this is something you see in, fictional representations of battle a lot, where in reality, not that many people actively killed each other in war, but you just end up with bodies piling up in fiction.
Yeah. I mean, I see more bodies than blades of grass.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, they're you literally couldn't walk through the field without walking over bodies.
Good God. But anyways, I think it does its job well to just show like the horrors of this battle and just how much death is going to be coming with the rest of this war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then a hard cut to Eric and Eric, which initially this hard cut confused the hell out of me. I was like, I was assuming there's two more bodies on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh wait, that's the Erics.
So, fun little fact though, remember how you and I were a bit confused about who won the fight from the previous episode?
I was not confused.
Who did you say won again?
Green.
So, I looked it up, I watched the scene, and I did some research, and it is actually Eric, the black one, who wins the fight.
Wrong.
Alright, I guess that's all there is then. But anyways, we have this kind of scene, which is, okay. Again, it's this moment that I don't like as far as them burying the Cargill twins. Cargill, however you pronounce it. I don't have a big comment. I feel like the real meat of this scene, though, is when Rhaenys approaches Rhaenyra, and they have a little bit of their back and forth on what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Rhaenys is giving Rhaenyra a bunch of bad advice this episode.
So let me refresh my memory. She comments about how Otto wouldn't have done this shit. And she comments like, it's the young ones, Aegon, Kristen, and Aemond, who are kind of taking control. But I will say, if I remember correctly, I felt like she was very hypocritical in the shit she was spewing.
I mean, she talks about like how there's a weird theme they try to put into this episode of like I think it's supposed to kind of be the violence begets violence kind of concept, but they do it in a weird way where they tie like the Bracken fuckface conflict, and then nobody's going to remember like what single event started the war because it's just a series of violence events. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It didn't really land for me.
But I don't know. I feel like of all the characters to say this, Rhaenys probably isn't the best one, considering how many she's killed. Currently, I feel like she has the highest body count in this war. 100% of them civilians.
Right, yeah. She hasn't killed any named characters, so it doesn't count.
Of course. And none of them nobles, so they count even for less.
Mm-hmm.
But she lays off a bunch of moments like maybe this war truly started when Luke took Aemon's eye and whatnot. But, I mean, it's... I don't have any strong feelings to it one way or another. It feels like space. Just filling space.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, maybe they've been hinting at this theme since the beginning and I just picked up on it on this episode because they made it so blatant. But I feel like they just all of a sudden started really leaning into this violence begets violence concept. And it just didn't seem... It certainly wasn't as blatant before this episode.
Yeah. And also, I'm very confused. Like, Rhaenys also counsels Rhaenyra, there may still be a way to end this war. and she names Alicent Hightower. And I'm sorry, but both like in the books and I feel like exceptionally in the show, Alicent can't do shit.
Yeah, she's just the mom.
Yeah.
What do they expect just the mom to do?
Like, granted, like I don't want to make it sound like Alicent is completely useless, even though she is in the show, but like there's like nothing she can do. She can
And
counsel.
also,
That's it.
Alicent, she largely caused this by misunderstanding Varys, which I would have liked to have forgotten about that whole thing, that whole debacle. But unfortunately, it comes up in this episode.
Fucking hell. That would have been another good scene to remove.
Yeah.
Or are we sure we're only allowed to remove one scene from a story? I think we need more.
Oh yeah, we'd have to remove huge swaths of season 1 to bring this to watchable levels at this point.
But yeah, her and Rhaenyra and Rhaenys go back and forth, and that's it. They talk
and
a little.
Apparently, Rhaenyra's just like had this letter from Alicent, and she was like, I don't really feel like reading it.
I refuse to read it. Like, bullshit.
Women.
Those are the words of your enemies.
Am I right? Women.
They can't.
What a lady moment.
But then we get the cunt Kristen Cole, and he's moping, looking over a chair with the light thematically hitting him. And something I actually want to whoops, I accidentally skipped instead of pausing. But something this is like only for book readers. Do you notice like around his neck he has a chain of hands?
I did notice this.
Yeah, that's actually how it is in the books. The Hand of the King wears a necklace of golden hands that are kind of interlocked in that manner. In the first show, they turned it into a pin, which, not a big deal, but I can understand why they felt a pin would have been better than a necklace. And I think it's kind of interesting because we saw Otto Hightower take off his pin and throw it at Kristen's feet. So I think it's a little weird to suddenly bring in the book-accurate necklace.
I mean, I guess a pin's hard to put onto armor, so...
He's got a white cloak.
Yeah, but that's behind him. Is he gonna wear the pin on his back?
Yeah.
The necklace is cooler, and it makes sense for somebody wearing armor, I guess. So, I dig it.
Yep. Kristen walks along, and he sees two guys who I was as confused as he was, and I was like, are we supposed to know who these guys are? But no, I guess these are new additions to the Kingsguard.
Which, I mean, I guess the king can do whatever he wants, but the fact that Aegon is adding Kingsguards without Cole knowing is crazy.
Yeah. And, like, I don't have strong feelings one way or another. Like, I don't believe any Kingsguard members were named during the war. I think there may have been, like, some talks of it, but I don't think anyone was officially named. But, it's not unreasonable that in this tumultuous... I keep trying to use fancy words, but I keep fucking it up. In this crazy time, Aegon probably would want more protectors and whatnot, and it makes sense that he would pick his fucking frapped boys.
Yeah, but is the commander of the Kingsguard not involved in, like, the swearing in or anything like that?
I believe he is to counsel the king in who is named to the Kingsguard, and obviously being Lord Commander, he does have a lot of sway with what he says, but I think at the end of the day, it is the king who decides. Because
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like when they actually take the oath, or like is there no ceremonial aspect of it that he would be present for?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Because he's like surprised to see new Kingsguards.
I feel like I recall reading that the Lord Commander would like be the one to put the cloak on them. So,
It's not that big a It's not that big a deal at this point. Little plot contrivances like that just freaking brush off my back. I don't even give a shit.
Okay, got it. So did it? Yeah, you're right. It's not that big a deal. And so apparently it can depend. The rite for making a new member of the White Sword can vary. It can be a solemn and formal event in which the knight kneels as he makes his vows before the king, and he then receives the white cloak of the king's guard from the hand of the king or the Lord Commander himself. The new, so it just by that though, it can vary.
Okay.
But still, you are right. He probably should have been a bit more aware about
Yeah.
who these guys are.
Yeah, well, I guess, to me, I guess fair enough, Aegon is stupid. Although I would think after naming Cole Hand of the King, he would be keeping him in the know on most of the stuff. Whatever. So we're at the meeting. Cole's surprised by the new knights.
But then we get into the actual talking and some of usually the war effort. I gotta say though, it seems like with these little meetings, it's almost always the same thing. It's just Riverlands, 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 Riverlands. I do think the show might be going a bit too slow in this whole war effort.
Hard to say. Hard to say. I mean, yeah, the Riverlands have come up in like the last 3 episodes, pretty much every meeting, but there have been things happening.
To be fair,
and we do finally get to the Riverlands this episode.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm kind of judging it by the book, which obviously just with how the book was written, it blitzed through these things much faster. It's just kind of like, I think I've used this example before, but it's like, the Hobbit movies versus the Hobbit books, even though you can't justify the length of the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
But anyways, eventually, Kristen Cole comes up with his little plan on what to do. And he pretty much says he'll pretty much kind of force submission from the Crown lands, houses, and nobility, and just kind of blitzkrieg into the Riverlands to try and subdue and join it to Aegon's cause.
Right. Which he says he'll like muster a quick does he specify how many? Does he say he's bringing 400? I have 400 in my head for some reason.
I don't think any numbers are specifically mentioned.
Okay. I don't know where that came from then. But he doesn't bring many with him.
No. To be fair, we don't get to see it as a whole, but you're right. It's got to be like a very small force, specifically since he seems to want to be a fast-moving force. Though,
yeah.
I mean, when it comes to like, what's a small army that can move fast versus a big army, I have no idea, but I would assume less than 1,000. Like
that seems fair.
Once you get to 4 digits, that's too many. That's too many to be sneaky. But 999, that's okay.
Yeah, super stealth. Unless you bring a fucking high tower with you.
Jeez. And Alicent, again with these, I hate her. I hate her and Cole so much. And it's not in a good way.
Oh, yeah.
She's just so useless.
Yeah, but I wouldn't care if she was just useless. I feel like, fair enough, she's just the mom of the king. Like, what's really her role in the small council? But the show continuously tries to tell us that she's important. It's like, she's not important. Nobody gives a shit about her.
Well, it's not just that. I wish she would give, like, somewhat sound advice every once in a while. But, like, she just says, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can't do that. Well, bitch, what should you do then?
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I do think the council has mostly bad ideas. But yeah, she's not offering up good ideas, so...
What, isn't there a saying, like, a bad idea done now is better than a good idea done never, or something like that?
I don't know if it goes quite like that.
I'm sure someone has said something similar. But anyways, enough about that. We're back over at Dragonstone where Rhaenyra talks to Misari, and this confirms that she was the one who notified Eric that what his brother was doing. Which I feel like we should have seen that last episode. I can think of a couple of scenes they could have cut in order for us to see that.
Yeah, that seems like it would have flowed a lot better if we'd seen that last episode.
Well, it's not just that, but now, like, at first I was wondering, like, what the hell? How did Eric get there? A part of me thought maybe he just so happened to have come in and checked, saw that the door was empty or open, and just barged in and saw his brother and responded. But now that we know that he was, like, assumedly told by Missaria, then why wasn't any other guards brought with him? Like, surely as he's sprinting towards the Queen's chambers, maybe there should have been some other guys there. Again, we have empty halls with no guards. Where the fuck are these guys?
Yeah, and doesn't she say she tried to tell some guards, but they didn't believe her?
Something like that. Hold on, let's see.
I was not believed at first.
Yeah, but and then it's not explained like why they believed her eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I assume she found Eric somehow.
Yeah, I was not believed at first. You saved my life. They don't comment on that, so she didn't. So it's not mentioned that she came across. We have to assume she came across Eric. Presumably, there would have been guards with her, like telling her to piss off or something when Eric came around. Because I don't think she'd be allowed back in the castle.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just it just. My opinion of the scene from that episode has gone down a little bit in other ways.
Well, but here's the thing. They didn't show it, so we just got to headcanon it, and it's not a plot hole.
I can't headcanon it, though, because every kind of decision I think that should be made can't work. We have to believe...
Sounds like you're not creative enough.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I should give up on my dreams of being a writer.
Yeah, clearly she scaled the wall to climb in a window.
And
then used the spider sense to find Eric and inform him.
But again, we have just a scene between these two going back and forth. We have a little bit of the motivation stated out for Missaria. We even have a little bit of a nod to Leonor and his dragon Sea Smoke being very upset and lonely. Maybe because his rider pissed off and left him alone, abandoning him.
Yeah. That is crazy. Like, if Leonor is gonna go along with the faking his death thing, fine. But fucking leaves his dragon?
Mm-hmm.
What? Just fly off on your dragon. And then if people ask questions, they could just be like, I guess the dragon left because his rider's dead.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it would kind of fuck over the blacks at this point. But
it would.
If I was Leonor, who cares?
Yeah, but because of the books, they can't. Anyways.
Yeah, and so then in this scene, we get another girl boss added to the Blacks Council.
I wouldn't even call this bitch a girl boss. She's useless.
She is a female character being written in 2024, so she's a girl boss.
What is her name?
I mean, she's already magically saved the Queen's life. How is she not girl bossing?
I'm trying to remember, like, what her name is. Because her sister's, like, Bela or something.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The new girl boss bitch. What's her name?
I'm talking about the spy lady.
Oh, Missaria? Oh, I thought we were moving on. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
No, because doesn't Misari ask to be added to the council?
Yeah, she was never officially added to the council in the books. I don't know how they're going to handle it in the show. She probably will be just added. But yes, she was kind of the unofficial mistress of whispers for both Daemon and Rhaenyra.
Oh, and also this fucking scene, like Rhaenyra's like, I don't know why that dragon's so restless. And then girl boss spy assassin is like, maybe he's lonely, I think she says.
Yep.
It's like, why the fuck does this random bitch know more about dragons than the fucking Targaryen?
Hell if I know. Originally, this is actually another character that was originally Valerian in the books, but I don't.
What?
Yeah, I haven't. I think I mentioned it in one of my videos going over the differences, but in previous instances, like with Corley's, it's not, and other characters that I brought up, it's not that crazy. Like her ethnicity has little to no bearing. The only thing you could kind of say is that the reason Damon took such a liking to her is because she looked Valerian.
Right. We did discuss this last season.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Yeah. But then again, even if she was, she still should not be any more knowledgeable of dragons than Rhaenyra.
Yeah, it's crazy for Rhaenyra to just be like dismissive of one of the dragons acting strangely. Like, does this dumb bitch have any concept of like what her assets are?
Can she make one good decision in her entire fucking life?
Yeah. God, I'm growing to hate so many of the characters.
But then we get a scene between Rhaena, that's her name, and Rhaenyra. Fuck all these R names. Rhaena, Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, just George,
Yeah.
Eat a dick. I am sick of it.
Which Rhaena is not a girl boss. I agree with you there.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're in agreement on that. So sorry for jumping ahead, but this is like the first real scene we get with Rhaena. We had some with the child actor, of course, but, she said, that was my dragon, blah, 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 any of that shit. Should have claimed it faster, bitch. And here, her probably first more prominent scene, I hate her. I really do hate her.
So does she doesn't have a dragon at all?
She does not.
So why don't they give her dad's dragon?
I don't know. Maybe she's tried to claim dragons and they've all refused her or something like that. Because obviously the Blacks do have dragons. I actually thought that, that would be something the show changed. In the books, she never becomes a dragon rider, I don't believe. And I thought in the show, because they need more, female fighting characters, they would have made her more prominent and have given her a dragon to fight in the war. But it looks like that's not what they're going to do.
No, it doesn't look like that's what they're going to do. So yeah, she for some reason doesn't want to leave, even though she's useless in a war.
Mm-hmm. It's I get it. I get you want to be helpful. You want to be a part of it, but you also have to acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses and what you can do to help the cause. This bitch isn't a fighter in any stretch of the word. She's not a dragon rider. She should realize that the best thing she could do is maybe a marriage pact because Luke is dead, but that's kind of it.
Oh, yeah, Luke was her spouse. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah. So fucking send her off.
Yep, honestly, this is more than she should probably be given to do. I wouldn't trust her with this shit.
Yeah, it is a ton of responsibility.
Yeah. Oh, make this sacrifice, please, for us. This isn't a sacrifice, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hate her. And then she has a scene later that changes no opinion of mine.
But she's just as unlikable.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But then we have Damon flying into Harrenhal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've heard me, but I've made a couple of comments that this episode feels kind of like nothing and like filler. I think this scene specifically proves my point incredibly.
Because it spends so much time with him going through the hallways, or?
Yes, we waste so much time about him just exploring Harrenhal. And now, to be fair, Harrenhal is a massive castle. It's very difficult to keep it fully garrisoned, obviously. So him just walking around like this with no one around, that's fine. That's honestly believable. What bugs me, though, is we know he was spotted. Before he lands, we hear someone shout, "Dragon."
Right.
So you would think they would gather their numbers, especially as Daemon enters the castle on his own, and hold up where the nobility are. But all we get is Daemon come across his one guard, tells him to halt. Daemon just punches the fuck out of him, and then goes into the chambers where the castellan and presumably all the other kind of higher-ups of the castle are. With no guards! What the fuck is up with this show and no guards?
It does seem like at the very least, because they were planning on welcoming him, so it does seem like at the very least, once they hear that Daemon is here, they would want to go greet him or something. Not just wait for him to wander his way to them.
Like, what the motivations of these guys are a bit strange. Because, remember, if we jump ahead a little bit, it's a little confusing, but Daemon, like, locks his door, remember?
Yeah.
So,
but that whole thing is... Did that actually happen?
Or was it a dream?
I think that was all dream stuff.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so, like, if we assume the best, that these individuals always intended to betray Larry's and swear fealty to the Blacks, which isn't impossible by any means, their actions are still a bit ridiculous. Like, this is the fucking king consort. Show him a little more, like, pretend that you're happy to see him a bit more.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, they should have come to greet him or something.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, waiting for him to find the dinner hall and then being like, all right, I guess Harrenhal's yours.
Yep, and as we're talking about this, I'm still watching Daemon right now just scurrying around the walls and the halls. Yeah. Oh, wait, he just found the guard and knocks... Useless guard. What the fuck was that?
Well, to be fair, Daemon has been established as a guy that easily wins one-on-one encounters.
Jeez. Anyways, he finally...
You can send soldiers at him single file infinitely forever, and Daemon will just take them all out.
Yeah, he'll be perfectly fine. But anyways, he eventually makes it to, I'm assuming, like, the main area of Harrenhal, at least for the castellan to eat and whatnot. And he just kind of walks around and bends the knee, which, you know, fair enough. It doesn't seem like they have any guards except for the one Daemon knocked the fuck out. So what are they going to do?
Yeah. How long ago was Harrenhal destroyed?
150 years ago, give or take. Because the Dance of the Dragon, or maybe 100, I think actually in the books, the war starts off in 130. So, I mean, Harrenhal was destroyed, like, pretty quickly, like in the first year of Aegon's conquest.
Because I was like, that's what I thought, but I was also thinking there's no way that this shit got destroyed 150 years ago and fucking no one's done any repairs.
So how it is Harrenhal, it's a few things. First off, Harrenhal is the largest castle ever built. It's bigger than King's Landing, it's bigger than Storm's End, it's bigger than Winterfell, and keep in mind, these are already areas that are stupid large.
Bigger than King's Landing as in, like, the actual castle, not as in the city.
Yes, the actual castle itself.
Right.
And so Aegon burnt it all down. You know, he melted this, like, the fire was so hot that some of the towers twisted in how they melted, which I don't think science is, but sure. So now, over the years, these next 130 years or so, people have been named as the new lords of Harrenhal, and they've tried to restore it. But there's a couple of issues. First off, with the massive size, it takes an ungodly amount of wealth to actually fix it up. And second, the curse of Harrenhal has reliably killed off most any family that has control of Harrenhal.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that whenever Larys killed his family, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. So, at this point in Harrenhal's life, you know, it's gone through a handful of families. Like, honestly, here, we can pull it up real fast if you want to.
We don't have to.
I'll pull it up while we're talking. But so going back to this scene though specifically, um, I mean, he swears fealty and Damon accepts, though he's very suspicious about how easy it was.
Right.
Yeah. So
And then is the scene where Damon corrects him and has him call him Your Grace, is that supposed to be like implying that Damon's still thinking about making a power grab?
possibly, though I have to say, they made the guy who accidentally calls him Prince. He defends himself with, saying, I thought as king consort. So he knows that Damon is married to Queen Rhaenyra. That makes him king, not prince. No, whether he's king consort or not, he is still king. You wouldn't address him as Prince Damon. It would still be Your Grace. So this old fuck is just wrong no matter how you look at it.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure what the standard practices were.
So yeah, he's a bumbling idiot who doesn't know about the hundreds and hundreds years of tradition that the Westeros people have gone through. But I think it's just to show off, Daemon being prideful and wanting, especially others, to see him as kind of the one in charge still.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Other than that, you don't get a lot from the scene. The guy promises some army. Daemon wants to magically make Harrenhal usable. Daemon's super suspicious about eating food. Anything I missed there?
The guy pretty much confirms to Daemon that he believes his nephew, I think that's his relation to the previous Strongs who died in the fire, that they were murdered by Larrys.
Right. He does know that to be a fact, without a doubt.
And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's a whole lot else to gather from this. I will say Daemon is an idiot for thinking they can rebuild this fucking castle so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about.
To be fair, he does just say, garrison the castle. So maybe not rebuild it, but holding all the Riverland forces in there. Maybe this is where you got 400 or so, because he does say 40,000 swords.
He does say 40,000 swords.
And there is a 4 in there.
4 is the same number as what I thought.
All right, we're drawing the connections. All right, but...
Yeah.
And the guy pretty much counters, some of those swords have declared for Aegon. And Daemon seems to be pretty confident he can change their minds, which, to be fair, I think he can be very persuasive.
Yeah, see, the thing here is the Blacks sent a dragon, and the Greens are sending some retard.
You are correct. I do find it interesting, though, that Daemon makes the comment about how the River Lords should follow their liege lord, no matter his condition. But I believe, if I remember correctly in the books, the current lord of the Tullys, I think it's Grover Tully, or it might be Kermit Tully. Yeah.
No.
What?
No.
What?
They're not naming the Tullys after goddamn Muppets.
No, they are.
Jesus Christ, George. What the hell is that?
So yeah, you have Kermit and Oscar Tully, who are brothers. They'll come up later. Who is their father? Grover Tully, that's his name.
Kermit, Oscar, and Grover. Is there a fucking Snuffleupagus Tully?
I don't believe so. But George has done this a few times. You know the Three Stooges, right?
I don't remember their names off the top of my head.
Either way, George, when Catelyn Stark is taking Tyrion to the Vale, 3 sellswords who are accompanying her are actually named after the Three Stooges.
Oh.
He does his usual stick where he kind of changes the name and whatnot, but Yeah, one of them's like Mo, the other's Larry, and the other's Curly.
Oh, yeah, that is their names. George needs to find an editor who's good at names.
To be fair, George is really good with dragon names. Like, I think my favorite of all is Vermithor. Like, that's just fucking golden.
Sure.
But you don't like Vermithor? You more of a
I don't
Caraxes?
I mean, dragon names are fine. I think George pretty much sucks at names, though.
I mean, I feel like the names he comes up are pretty good. He just uses them a lot, over and over and over.
Yeah, he's got like 3 good names that he uses on all his characters. So the next scene, we're back with the Greens. We're seeing the little army that Cole mustered.
At least in King's Landing, yes.
Right.
Lots of high towers.
And Cole has a haircut.
Yeah, not sure why. Maybe
It doesn't look good. It's a bad haircut.
it doesn't look great.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they did that, but whatever. It's not that big a deal.
Mhm.
And Alicent introduces him to her brother,
Yes, Sir Gawain Hightower.
who he gives off. He seems like even more of an idiot, but he gives off the same vibes as Marjorie Tyrell's brother,
Loras?
Loras. He gives off kind of Loras vibes.
I do not get that at all. Oh, are you just saying he seems gay?
Yeah. I don't know if he's actually gay, but he gives off kind of gay vibes.
I give Loras more credit than that. He's not this gay. He literally sucks dick, but he's not as gay as this Hightower.
Well, yeah. Loras seems way cooler. Well, Loras is like actually capable at the very least.
Yeah.
He's not running out into the middle of fields when there's dragons patrolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's doing this little bitch ass thing where it's just like, oh, it must be so good that you took the position my father had after serving 3 kings.
Yeah, being passive aggressive as a knight is cringe.
Not to
Knights can't be passive aggressive; they have to be active aggressive.
Exactly. This isn't even that passive. It's just bitch ass aggressive.
I think that's what passive aggressive means.
But there's nothing passive about it. You can't misunderstand it.
Well, right, but that passive aggressiveness isn't supposed to be misunderstood. It's supposed to have plausible deniability. And that's what he has. He's like, oh, I'm so happy to see some young Dornish man of low birth take my father's position.
Gotcha.
You know, that's textbook passive aggressiveness.
I thought passive aggressive was supposed to be like a little more sneaky, where like if someone's really dull, it just goes right over their head.
Yeah, I mean, you can also do that.
Anyway, so he's not too happy about the Hightower coming along, and I think that is perfectly justified.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really know why Alicent is sending her brother.
Exactly.
I mean, Cole's basically as far as I'm concerned, Cole's going on a suicide mission.
Yeah, like if she's not a fan of the mission, so why would she send her brother?
Like, I think the idea is supposed to be her brother's like keeping an eye on Cole for her or something, but it's not like her brother's going to be in like a position to like report back or anything.
Yeah, well,
or to stop Cole from doing something if Cole decides he's going to do something.
I mean, theoretically, he could send riders to inform Alicent, maybe a raven, but yeah, it doesn't make the most amount of sense. Especially, the only other way you could justify it if she's sending the guy to kind of keep Cole on a leash, but this guy clearly doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, clearly he's the one who needs a leash.
Mm-hmm. But anyways...
Right, and even if he was supposed to keep Cole on a leash, like I said earlier, like Cole's a higher position than him.
Yeah.
He can't order Cole around or anything.
Yeah. But, and then Cole asks for Alicent's boob rag, loads up, and rides off, and hey, we get to see Cheese again.
Yeah, he's having a rough time.
Eh, he'll get over it. I have faith in him.
Yeah, he'll be back to catching rats any day now.
Or maybe the rats will catch him. Back
The flying rats are getting him.
Back over to Dragonstone, we have a council meeting between everyone talking about what needs to be done. And pretty much the council is just saying, Rhaenyra, do something. Anything at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, there has been, at this stage in the season, a lot of inaction from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an astonishing amount of inaction from both sides. I was with Otto when he was talking about, like, we need to gather our, pawns and make sure we have our full chessboard before we get going on anything. But at this point, it's getting a little bit absurd.
Right? And she talks about, if dragons start fighting dragons, then, like, it's all over. What if dragons begin fighting dragons, we invite our own destruction. You cannot, in any sense of the imagination, believe you will win this war without dragons fighting dragons. You cannot.
They're trying to do like a weird mutually assured destruction metaphor. I feel like there's like a weird kind of nuke Cold War energy going on, and like that just doesn't work with dragons.
Yeah, like I've been one to use the example of dragons as medieval nukes before, but more so in just like, their capabilities in destruction.
Well, and
you still have pretty fervent control on what's destroyed, though.
Right, and it is a nuke if you're the only one with dragons. But if both sides have dragons, the nuke metaphor falls apart because they both... The dragons, they cancel out. Nukes don't cancel out. They destroy each other.
Yeah, you're not going to have a situation where it's like, the nukes are launched at each other and they collide, canceling each other out. I mean, they could do that, but that's mutually assured destruction at that point.
Right. Yeah, so she doesn't want to do anything, and for some reason her girl boss, fake queen, I forget her name. Rhaenys is on her side. The council, they try to make him seem stupid and brash, but it's like, at least they've got some plans.
Hey, and also, she apparently begins to the council gives the idea, and I do find it hilarious because they're not smooth about this at all. They're like, hey, maybe you should go into hiding. And we will stay here as a distraction. Like, you guys aren't smooth at all. And I agree with them. Get her the fuck out of here so that way they can actually make decisions. But you guys went about this at the wrong time.
Yeah, well, and Rhaenyra was never going to go for it anyways because she's a dumb bitch.
Yeah, but also, they're right. There's been she was almost killed. Very closely to dying with the assassination attempt.
It's true. It is true. But the show wants to convince us that they're stupid and that the women are the ones making smart, well-considered decisions here.
You might be right, but in the end of the day, I just think everyone here is an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Everyone here is an idiot.
Jeez. And God, I forgot about this. But when Rhaenys gets up and starts saying, "Remember the crown she wears of Jaehaerys, the Conciliator," I want to remind her, crowns don't work like that. You don't put on. You can't put on the wisest and greatest king of Westeros and just be like, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm super smart." It's not that Baldur's Gate mystic headband of intellect. It's not that. It doesn't work at all.
The crown gives her plus 15 speech.
Oh Jesus, fuck off, Rhaenys. Fuck off, fuck all of you. Fuck off. I hate you all so much in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, as I rewatch this episode, I am. I mean, maybe it's because the episode was soured with the last scene, It's got me. It's got me. I'll be honest. It's got me pretty checked out. I'm pretty checked out at this point. But I'm not enjoying this episode now.
No, it's worse with rewatching. Oh God, because at least when the first time you watch, you don't have a super good idea what's going to happen. Even me as a book reader, but good God, and then we're over at Driftmark where Rainey's and Corley's are like talking, and
Yeah.
it is completely useless, utterly useless. This scene need not exist at all, and I don't know why they are having this meeting in the rain next to the boat. I mean, I guess they're trying to portray Corley's as a guy who, like, a a one percenter who still gets down in the mud and works. He's kind of fixing up the ship and whatnot, but it's all pointless. This means nothing. And they start talking about inheritance, and suddenly, like, Corley's isn't a fan of talking about inheritance.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like they decided anything new talking about inheritance. Like, they toss around a couple ideas, but land in pretty much the same place they were.
Also, like, what the fuck? Like, when they start talking about inheritance, the first one that Corley's brings up is Joffrey, a boy of 6 who doesn't know how to sail. Bitch, Luke sure as shit didn't know how to sail, but you were fine. You were all like, nah, he needs to be my heir. I won't sentence him to death by disinheriting him or anything like that. Like, what the fuck? This is...
Right, and 6 still seems young enough to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an expert sailor myself, but I think that when you're 6 years old, you might still be able to learn.
But then Rhaenys brings up naming Rhaena as the heir. And isn't that, like, you guys talked about this before?
Yeah.
And how
For sure.
naming either of Daemon's daughters was a bad idea because it would be declaring to the entire realm that the bastards are bastards. Just get...
Yep. Yeah.
And Corley's, he's kind of being a dumbass more so than usual. He's just like, we can just talk about this later. I'll be fine. Motherfucker, it wasn't that long ago that you were dying on your bed from a wound you received in battle. You are at war. Don't be this stupid. And, like, to be fair, that's an aspect I feel like isn't contradicting to his character, but stupid nonetheless. I feel like most people, after having a near-death experience, that's like, I don't know about you, and I don't know if I've had, like, near-death experience, but, like, one time I got into a car accident, and that was the first time in a long time where I was just kind of sitting home, and I was just thinking, should I make a will? Like, that's what those instances do to me, but maybe Corley's is just made of different stuff.
Yeah. Well, and the last time his ship sank, he wasn't preparing to go to war with fucking dragons.
Yeah, he was just
I feel
fighting...
like when you're on a boat and you're fighting dragons, all bets are off. It doesn't matter how good of a fucking sailor you are.
Well, no, you have to remember, though, ballistas on the boats are much more dangerous than on castle walls. So
That's true. They do get aimbot when they're on a boat.
he's very safe in the boats. So maybe he does have nothing to worry. Maybe dragons are easier to kill than pirates.
That's probably true. Now that I think about it, I think dragons are probably easier than pirates.
Anyways, eventually Corley's just calls off this little meeting. Thank God, because fuck me. And hey, we're back to his worst prodigy. His great prodigy, Rhaena, is back. Still bitching about being sent off to keep care of the most important people to Rhaenyra.
As well as several dragons.
And here's the thing that kind of irks me. She's obviously resistant. She wants to be useful in the war, even though there's no way in Seven Hells that she could ever be useful, except as a marriage pact maybe to a powerful noble that they have yet to really snag. But then they bring out the eggs. Why is it that the eggs are what convince her?
I don't know.
Like, surely, young dragons are just as, if not more important than eggs.
You'd think the children of people. You'd think Rhaenyra's children would be pretty important.
Yeah, that too.
But guess not. Guess she didn't consider them that important.
maybe they're kind of hinting at kind of a second chance for her. Maybe like, with these eggs, you can help hatch them, and maybe one of them will bound to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think the inclin fuck. I think what the showrunners are trying to tell us here is that those 3 eggs are Daenerys's eggs.
I was kind of wondering if that's... Well, there's 4 eggs, though.
Are there 4?
Yeah, so maybe she'll get 1 egg, and then the other 3 end up becoming Daenerys's.
Hold on. Let me record. Let me rewind back a bit. Oh, you're right. There are 4. Huh. I don't know. I still think they might be the 3 eggs. Though, I don't know. I feel like there's already something that takes place in the books that are more likely to be Daenerys's eggs than these. So I hope those aren't Daenerys's eggs, but I think they will be Daenerys's eggs.
Yeah, they've been really enjoying tying the show into Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So,
great.
So very cool stuff. Rhaenyra says bye to her kids.
The bastards.
And Bela convinces Rhaena to not be dumb.
Piss off.
And off she goes.
Good riddance.
And we are back with Alicent, my favorite character.
Yeah, she has a little bit of a black back and forth with Helena, and she says she feels bad about Jaehaerys. But, like, I don't know. I just struggle. I know it's not fair. I know the writers and even the actress to a certain extent aren't trying to go for a way, but I just can't relate to Helena with how she chooses to grieve. It's just not something I click with emotionally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I get the character. I think she's probably one of the only characters that's remained somewhat consistent in this fucking show at this point.
You definitely have some truth to that. I still hate blood and cheese, but maybe eventually I'll come around with this more neurodivergent Alice or Helena.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she forgives she forgives Alicent without Alicent ever asking for it.
And like
I thought,
I'm kind of confused. Like, what is she forgiving Alicent for? For like starting the war? For being a shit mom? Like,
I think for what happened in the bedroom. I think that this is basically confirmation that like Cole was supposed to be out there protecting her and the kids, and he was fucking instead.
I wouldn't forgive that shit.
No, neither would I, but she does. So, what a big heart she has.
Too big.
And then we're with Aegon, who's gearing up to go to war, despite the fact that literally everybody's told him not to.
Yeah, they also make the comment of like Valyrian steel, which I think they're saying in conjunction with his armor, right?
That seemed like the implication to me.
Which I don't think so. Throughout all of A Song of Ice and Fire, I believe there is only one instance of Valyrian steel armor being a thing. And that's actually by Euron Greyjoy in the show. Or in the books, I should say. But Aegon's armor is not described as all as Valyrian, which is weird because his crown is made of Valyrian, and obviously Blackfire, his sword, is. But his armor? Not mentioned, but, not impossible.
It doesn't look like Valyrian steel to me.
It doesn't. Not nearly shiny enough.
Right, like all the Valyrian steel stuff is like shown, right? Like, I mean, it just looks like steel, I think, usually. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
It being black, I mean, I guess you could paint it.
Also, to be fair, like a part of it does look like some of the artwork and whatnot that's depicted Aegon's armor. But Aegon was more of the scale armor kind of type.
I mean, this armor looks fairly scaly.
It's kind of hard for me to tell because every time I pause it, the screen just gets so fucking black.
Like, his arms are definitely like scale mail.
Yeah, but the breastplate isn't scaled.
No, it's. I mean, it's. I don't even know what you'd call that. I'm not an armor guy.
Yeah. Well, it's not that important, but Larry's eventually shows up and proceeds to talk Aegon out of going off to war simply by saying, like, small folk be talking shit. They say you leave because your mama can run the country better.
Yeah, yeah.
A-
Uses a little deception to convince him to just stay. Which I guess at this point, Laris is the only fucking person at the castle that has any clue how to manipulate Aegon.
or at the very least, yeah, the one with the most success. But
Right,
what's
like everybody's trying to, but he's the only one that's managed to get Aegon to do what he wants.
mhm. And what's kind of cool is kind of at the end of this scene, Aegon officially, finally, appoints him as the Master of Whisperers.
Yeah, which I guess I didn't realize that was a position that Varys, Viserys, had specifically done away with.
So the thing with Viserys, if I remember, and looking it up, I think it was like before Larry Strong, the Master of Whisperers is unknown. But I think that Viserys was the one who named him Master of Whisperers in the books.
Oh, really? So this is a pretty big change then.
Yeah, because looking it up right now, last name. So Master. Since he was appointed in 127 AC, that means that Lord Jasper, Lord Larry Strong, and Sir Tywin Lannister were already on Viserys the First's small council by 127 AC. So Larry Strong was appointed by Viserys, supposedly.
Oh, huh. I kind of prefer this change
It's not a bad one.
because I mean I get not having a Master of Whispers is stupid, but it does seem like the kind of stupid thing that
Viserys would do. Yeah, I think you're right, because especially since we don't know, it's not even in the books. It's never mentioned who the Master of Whisperer is. Just saying that he never had one, and instead making it that Aegon appointed him. I think it's kind of a cool thing, and in a way, it gives more character to one who's already deceased.
Right.
All right, but anyway, so Aegon looks at his Kingsguard, and I don't know if he seems like he's kind of like surprised at first that they would not that they're like laughing at the idea of keeping their vows, but I think it's a joke for him. I think he's like playing the super serious like I but then he smirks at the end. He's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's hard to say, but it does seem like his surprise is a little bit genuine.
Ooh, do you think it might be him trying to be in a way, him trying to find love or be accepted by other people? Like these Kingsguards, like I'm fairly confident we saw all these guys previously as like his frat boy drinking buddies.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe it's because of that kind of friendship, he still wants to kind of like be a part of that.
Right, he wants someone to like him.
Mm-hmm.
He's desperate for affection because his mom doesn't give him any.
Yeah, bitch. All right, but now we're kind of off in Flea Bottom, I'm assuming, and I think this is the guy, I might be wrong, who was like asking questions about the rat catchers in the previous episode.
I think so as well. I didn't like go back and verify it or anything, but he looks similar.
Yeah, I wasn't paying that close attention to him, but now his name is Ulf.
And he's claiming to be Targaryen.
He is indeed claiming to be Targaryen. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't think he's black enough.
He doesn't look black enough. Where are the dreads? If you don't have dreads, you're not a Targaryen.
To be fair, those are Valarians, so maybe he could be a Targaryen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But Ulf is someone in the books, and we should actually, hopefully, get to know him a bit more as the show goes on.
Fun, fun stuff.
Yeah,
Good.
but as he's all talking shit, specifically saying, uh, the rightful, I think he says like the rightful queen Rhaenyra or the rightful heir Jacaerys,
Yeah, yeah,
and Aegon shows the fuck up, like, hey, there's your half brother or something, or your cousin.
yeah. Which I gotta say, if he is actually part Targaryen, that's crazy for him to just be telling a random dude he just met.
Eh, I don't know. If you can trick someone, it's not that big of a deal. The thing where he really fucks up, especially like the Targaryens, there have been plenty who have been known to go around and fuck around. So a couple of bastards here and there. I mean, Aegon himself, who knows how many bastards he has? He watched them in the fighting pits.
Right, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, if he is part Targaryen, like, that getting out could for real get him killed.
Uh, I guess at the end of the day, like, why kill him though?
I don't know. He's got a claim to the throne or something. I don't know.
If Jesus Christ, DJ. So when it comes to a claim to the throne, pretty much everyone in a family has like big, small, all sorts of claims. So you need more than that. You have to actually be like in a proper running, or just have an entire enough support where big stick diplomacy takes over. This guy has neither of that. He's a bastard, so already he's probably like no inheritance there. He doesn't have an army he can call upon. Like, this guy matters nothing at all at this point in the story. There would be no reason to execute him. Now, when he starts talking about, Rhaenyra being the rightful queen, that shit is why he should be executed.
Fair enough.
But anyways, skipping ahead a bit, Aegon finally shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And the man pisses himself, hoping that Aegon didn't hear him, which luckily he didn't. And Aegon and his frat boys are introducing a friend of theirs to have his first woman, I assume. And fuck, I'll be honest. I know, like, Game of Thrones in general is like popular for having like sex scenes. I didn't expect that we'd see a full-on blowjob though.
Yeah, it looks like a fake dick.
I think you're probably right.
But yeah, that is pretty gratuitous, even by Game of Thrones standards.
Yeah, but anyways, eventually, as he's trying to find the perfect woman for him to have his first night with, that woman happens to be who Aemond likes to cuddle with.
Yeah, which I guess I kind of forgot that this was like the first prostitute that Aegon brought Aemond to sleep with way back when.
I kind of was that mentioned like in the show? I honestly forgot about that.
Well, it's mentioned here in this scene.
Yeah.
But I kind of remember that being something that happened in season 1.
Probably. I don't remember it super strongly, but I totally believe like it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't go back and confirm.
Yeah, so Aegon's so drunk, and he cannot read a room. Even his fucking Kingsguard friends are like, dude, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, this scene really reminded me of season 1 Aegon.
Mm-hmm. Got a bit more vibe for that. We get a nice shot of Aemon's entire body and big dick energy.
Yeah. Again, is the full frontal really necessary?
It's not, but realism or some shit like that. You go to a whorehouse, you're probably going to see a penis when you don't want to.
Yeah, but I'm not at a whorehouse. I'm in my living room.
So that interaction happened. I'm thinking they're using that to add a little bit of friction between the two brothers, more so than kind of already existed.
Yeah, I guess that.
I mean, that's the only way. Aside from introducing Ulf, that's the only way I can justify having those scenes back to back.
Well, they didn't even need to do the whorehouse scene to introduce Ulf.
Back over at Dragonstone, though, and I'll be completely honest, I don't remember this scene at all.
Right near, is this where she talks to the spy chick? Are we getting there?
Does she talk to
No,
them
we're
again?
not far enough. We're not far enough into the episode. What's going on here?
She's looking
She's
through
on.
a bag. I want to say are like those. Oh, she's opening up the message from
the
Alicent.
letter from Alicent. Right.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and we don't really get to read much of it.
To be fair, I can't read that shit.
Yeah, it's Rhaenyra, battling all of the Ba might also with to the mother.
Well, I don't think we have to read the letter, because next we get a very exciting scene where these high tower bitches are just ignoring Kristen and just moseying on over towards an inn, apparently.
Yeah, in the middle of an open field while they're trying to be stealthy.
Yeah, sneaky.
And there's dragons.
This is like, I guess I can't judge it, but like, I guess I will say it's a level of realistic incompetency, I feel. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's plausible stupidity.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
Though I will say, something that I find harder to believe is Bale, whatever her name is, being able to see them from all the way up there.
I mean, I think the dragon spots them more than anything.
Does it? Hold on. We got the scene. We can kind of see her up in the distance, which noticing a dragon in the sky makes more sense. But does the dragon notice?
She sees a glint.
She does see the glint of the armor.
And I feel like it's after the dragon acknowledges them.
Okay, you're right. The dragon does kind of roar in that direction. So if it's the dragon that notices, that makes it a bit more plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, she's just flying down there. And these guys get really lucky, I feel. But it's kind of, movie showy that Kristen and, the two named characters, their horses are the last ones to make it.
Yeah, as I was watching this scene, I was like, I'd be fucking dumping horse armor on the ground. I don't know how it's attached, but I'd be fucking cutting straps, bro.
Yeah. I will say, though, it's very odd that no fire was shot. Right? Because she gets really close. I feel like it would be reasonable for her to take, like, a shot. Because she knows it's Kristen. She confirms, like, yeah, I saw it was Kristen.
Yeah, to just blast some flames into the forest.
Yeah, so that's an interesting choice on her part. Maybe she was trying to capture it. It was a quick moment, but, just say Dracarys and... I mean, they're running into trees. The trees aren't going to keep them safe from fire.
No. Yeah. And then she gives up the search pretty quick. I don't know. Maybe it's a smaller dragon, can't fly that long.
I don't know. From what I remember, the bigger, older dragons have trouble staying in the air longer.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
When you think about it, makes kind of sense, I guess. More weight, more to carry.
I guess, but I just assumed they fly with magic of some kind.
Magic. All right, but eventually she does give up and kind of flies off. And Kristen pretty much says, now we're only traveling at night through the forest.
And no fucking inns.
A rare Kristen win.
When he's not with Alicent, I don't hate him as much.
Maybe they just bring out the worst of each other.
Heck, they really do. And we're back at a little council meeting.
Mm-hmm. Where pretty much...
How many council meetings are in this episode?
3, it seems.
Is that it? Only 3?
I think this is the 3rd one.
You might be right about that.
Because we had the first one where Kristen walks up and gives his plan. We have the second one where they try and talk to Rhaenyra to get out. Do you count Damon eating at Harrenhal as a small council meeting.
It's about as boring.
So if we count that, then I think there's 4.
All right. So yeah, they're still being like, hey, we should do something. You know, we're about to be at war, so maybe we should do something.
Mm-hmm.
And Rainier is like, I'll think about it. You know what we should do right now? We should think about it.
But they name dropped Rook's Rest, which is interesting. That's going to be quite important, I believe, in the next episode. The next episode, I feel like we're either going to love it or we're going to hate it.
I already hate it because here's the thing. This episode, all right, we can wait until we're not quite there yet.
Like, I think everyone knows what scene it is, but yeah, Jesus.
I know, but I think I have a lot to say, a lot to rant about that. So,
all right, but we're almost there. We are almost there. This scene ends after everyone saying do something, do something. She'll put some thought into it, and we are back at Harrenhal, and it's kind of like you said, like, is this a dream or isn't it? Because when Damon like blocks the doors, he like, okay, so now he knows that the Castellan and everyone at Harrenhal is trying to kill him.
Well, I don't see it as that necessarily. I think he's just being extremely cautious because, like, he wasn't eating any of the food at dinner either.
Yeah.
So I think him putting his sword through the door makes sense. Like, that's just him being cautious. And honestly, like, it would be stupid for him not to. If he was just like sleeping, just went to sleep in the bed, I'd be like, that's retarded.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm not like trying to discount that. I'm discounting, like, you know, this kind of confirms that these guys are Team Green and not Team Black. But now we're in the
I don't see it in that way as much as I see it that Damon's still suspicious of them. I don't think it confirms that which side they're on.
But the doors, someone attempts to open the doors.
Right, which that's the part that I don't know if this really happened. But Damon, well, all I'm saying is Damon blocking the doors doesn't confirm anything.
Okay.
And then I don't know what's real after that.
You're right, because we do get this weird, like, dream, vision, thingabawitch, more so dream, where young Rhaenyra makes an appearance.
Yeah.
And she's just sewing on the head of Jaehaerys, which I'm assuming is, like, hinting at some sort of guilt he feels at the death of Jaehaerys.
I guess.
But then why would Rhaenyra be there?
Because he's horny? I don't know.
Yeah, and modern Rhaenyra is too old.
Oh yeah, for him this is Rhaenyra in her prime.
But anyways, but then he like wakes up and he's standing outside. He's at the werewood.
Yeah, he teleports a little bit there.
A lot of old god motion.
And then there's some
bitch,
which we saw this bitch earlier.
Yeah, she was at that little dining hall,
and she's also blessed with the tism.
Mm-hmm. You will die in this place.
It's such a weird choice to give all of the prophetic characters crazy autism.
Well, not just that though, but just like you will die here. Like, there's nothing like prophetic about that. That's just like, hey, bitch, you're fucked.
Well, I mean, I would, right, if she wasn't clearly autistic, I would assume so. But she's clearly autistic, so I think she can predict the future.
I mean, you're right, but like I prefer my prophecies to be a little more ambiguous in like how they are.
Yeah, you will die here is not
ambiguous.
Very ambiguous.
It means he's gonna die there, I guess.
Yeah, that's less foreshadowing and more just spoiling.
But who knows? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Only the book readers truly know.
Right.
All
And
right.
so I still have no clue what in that entire sequence is real.
Maybe the whole
But we're
thing was a fever dream. But now, back at Dragonstone, Rhaenyra with Misari, and they're talking about, and pretty much, like, right when she said, I will talk to her myself, I'm just like, please, no. You can't be serious. This
yeah.
is, no, don't do it. No. And they
Yeah,
fucking did it.
I went full Frank Castle mode as soon as she said I would talk to her myself. I was, no, 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 no. No, no, no.
Wait.
Wait. Yeah.
And it's just like, the whole thing is fairly long. But
If it can be averted, it is my duty to avert it. It can't be averted. We are so far past that. There are so many dead people. What are you talking about?
peace is not an option. And even if you could convince Alicent, again, she has no real power. She has some influence, don't get me wrong, but don't go pretending like convincing her fixes everything. But anyways, we have Rhaenyra now, because we don't need to talk about that shit. The fact that Missaria even like starts making plans for it is fucking ridiculous. Ugh.
Truly preposterous.
But she's there, and she's with presumably.
So Misari, that just immediately axes Misari's character. If she was ever supposed to be competent in any sort of way, her going along with this means she's no longer competent. She's now retarded.
Well, hold on. To be fair, let's be fair to her a little bit. It's not the employee's fault when they do what the employer demands of them, no matter how stupid it is. And to be fair,
she's less guilty than Rhaenyra, but I'm not letting her off the hook.
But honestly, she is not the one who suffers the most from this. Rhaenyra suffers, but even Rhaenyra is not the one who suffers the most. But she's being escorted there, presumably by a protector. I'm assuming it's likely a member of the Kingsguard.
That's what I was wondering.
I don't really recognize him that much, but here's like the thing. The fuck is he going to do? Like, let's be honest. He ain't going to do shit.
He's going to fight the whole castle.
Aye. Like, I get you kind of want to protect her there, but then it gets really weird. Like, he stops before they enter, and then she continues on.
Uh-huh.
That ruins the point of a bodyguard.
Yeah, I guess he's just there to get her to the temple and back.
Maybe, but then he, like, draws his dagger under his sleeve, or slides it in.
Sleeve.
So, it's, like, kind of hinting that he's there to kind of keep her safe or something. Like, useless. But it gets worse. It gets worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're just getting started, baby.
Because Rhaenyra approaches Alicent. And they have a little conversation.
Well, Rhaenyra decides to start this little conversation by threatening Alicent with a knife.
I mean, to be fair, there are worse ways to start a conversation.
Not really. There's not really a worse way to start the conversation. Especially when you are way behind enemy lines. Like her getting into a physical confrontation with Alicent is immediate death. Whether she kills Alicent or not.
I think it's kind of like one of those lines. Like, if you, like, imagine you're trying to mug someone, you know? And you, like, tap them on the shoulder and say, like, hey, be quiet. Are they really going to be quiet? I feel like if you're going to mug someone, you approach them, you show them you have a gun or a weapon, and say, like, you know, if you do anything, I'll kill you. They're more likely to be quiet.
Yeah, but she's not trying to mug her. She's trying to
talk with her.
Yeah, do some diplomacy.
But then she says, if I cry out, and Rhaenyra says, the knights will find me and kill me, but I'll kill you first. And Alicent looks like genuinely horrified. Then, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I did. There's one line I kind of enjoyed from this where Rainier's like, I'm trying to avoid bloodshed. And Allison's like, so you're turning yourself in?
And
I kind of enjoy because that is the only way that this scene makes any conceivable sense is if Rhaenyra was turning herself in. If
but
Rhaenyra was like, I give up, just fucking kill me.
But now we're getting back to this. She's talking about how the guys are all seeking blood and glory and whatnot, which isn't even entirely accurate. Otto Hightower has been very much saying slow and steady wins the race in some of this shit.
Yeah, but he's gone now.
That's right. He doesn't appear at all in this episode, so I guess he did go off to the Hightower lands.
No, to Tyrell lands.
Well, the Hightower lands are in Tyrell lands.
Oh, is that a fact?
Yeah, the Hightowers are bannermen to the Tyrells, though the Hightowers are very prominent bannermen to the Tyrells. Like, they are some of the most powerful High Lords in the realm.
I see. So yeah. I mean, honestly, the meat of the conversation here doesn't really matter.
No.
It's just more stupid. Oh, I don't want to go to war bullshit that we're so far past. We've been past this for like most of season 1.
Yeah, and it's
like
the whole thing is like, honestly, this dialogue, it's not, to be clear, but it could be perfect. It could be masterfully done. I would still hate it just because of the contrivance of getting it to this part of Rhaenyra sneaking it. Like, everything after that is bullshit, no matter how good it is. And it's not even that good. They talk a little bit, they go back and forth, and then, like, Rhaenyra starts to try to explain, like, that's a prophecy. He wasn't trying to replace me. He didn't change his mind.
Yeah, and it's like, who cares? Who cares? We're past that. It doesn't matter. Alicent can't do anything about that, even if she wanted to. And she fucking doesn't want to. But what Alicent should want to do right now is prevent the war by getting you killed.
Mm-hmm. Or, like, arrest. Like, this, honestly, another thing. This is her best case scenario. Like, Alicent's best case scenario. She wants this war to end. And she doesn't want Rhaenyra to die. So, best case scenario, if they just capture her, maybe they can force her to surrender. Either way, she'll likely be executed, but you know what? That's going to probably be the only thing that happens either way.
And you prevent no matter what happens, you prevent the war. The war is over in this scene because Alicent, if she had half a fucking brain, she goes straight to a guard and gets Rhaenyra fucking executed, and then the war's over, end of the show. The show is over. This is the last episode. We can have an epilogue, maybe, where it shows, what everyone gets up to after the war is prevented. But this is the fucking end of the show. Rhaenyra's dead. She just handed herself over to the enemy.
It's so damaging, again, to Alicent, who, I guess not. She's being very, very consistent in just how stupid and useless she is.
I was going to say, this would be the worst character assassination ever conceived of if Alicent's character wasn't already so fucking stupid.
It just all boils down to...
But every death that results in the war after this is fucking Alicent's fault.
I think you and I are in complete agreement with that.
This is, in my opinion, easily season 8 level of bad writing. Mm-hmm. Like, this just completely fucks every aspect of the show up till now.
Also, Alicent just gets up and leaves. Rhaenyra doesn't kill her or anything because, like, she threatened to kill Alicent, let's be clear, and Alicent just leaves. For all Rhaenyra knows, like, Alicent could just start screaming, she's here, or some shit, or she could be walking off to get the guards to come get her, and Rhaenyra just stays there and looks at the flames, just, what the absolute fuck?
Yeah, and it's not even that Alicent could go do that. It's that the only thing that it makes sense for Alicent to be doing is going to get guards.
To be fair, maybe it took her so long to find any guards because there aren't any when you need them.
That's true.
Even though we saw
That's
her
true. There's
walking
only
in
five
with,
guards.
even though we saw her walking in with 2 Kingsguard members.
Yeah.
Also, hold on. Let me rewind a bit. We saw Alicent with the 2 Kingsguard members. Did we see the Kingsguard members not enter?
I don't know.
They're walking.
I don't give a shit.
Hold on. I'm rewinding because we see them walking up the steps with Alicent. Like, I know Alicent is going to pray. Sometimes you want to pray by yourself, but
It doesn't matter because very clearly the laws of reality are bending around, they're breaking around this scene. They've been shattered into pieces around this scene.
yeah, and also we don't see the Kingsguard stop at any moment. We see them walking up the stairs with Alicent, and then it just cuts to Alicent being her by herself near the 7-pointed center star, and it's just
Yeah, they're just off taking the shit. They're shitting.
Kristen, you are the worst commander if these are the chuckle fucks who you appointed. Good God.
They had to poop.
Jeez. But then...
And so that's how the last episode of House of the Dragon ends.
It's...
I'm in disbelief. I'm in true disbelief of this scene. I cannot fathom how anybody wrote this and then how it got through every stage of production required to turn it into an actual scene in a TV show. And everybody was like, yeah, sure, it's good enough at the very least.
Oh my God. I think it's safe to say at this point that House of the Dragon, and it's unfair to expect any show to reach this, but House of the Dragon is not ever going to reach the pinnacle of Game of Thrones at its peak. I think House of the Dragon is just going to be forgotten 1 year after it ends.
Yeah. I will say the only reason this isn't as emotionally damaging to me as season 8 of Game of Thrones is because I had almost no investment in anything in House of the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they decided to just fucking torch it in the 3rd episode of the 2nd season, I guess that it's whatever.
And I think with that, there's nothing we can add. All the other scenes to me are useless filler, and the others are just this unregurgitated garbage.
It's crazy. It is the craziest. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
But hey, we have to end on a positive note. And I think I can think of no better way to end than by saying, at least it can't get worse than this. Right?
That's true. I do want to say, before we end the podcast, we are not going to be doing at least quick podcasts, quick turnaround on the podcast for the next couple episodes.
That's right. We and DJ Fella are both going to be indisposed with personal matters.
Yes. So we will miss this episode that comes out on the 7th and the episode that comes out on the 14th. And we'll probably be pretty late for the episode that comes out on the 21st, if I was going to guess.
Mm-hmm. Most likely.
Because we'll have some catching up to do and stuff. So probably won't be a podcast for a little while.
Well, either way, I was already planning on making like a community post letting everyone know. But hey, if you made it to the end, then you get to hear it a little bit earlier. But with that all squared away, DJ Fella, it's always nice to have you join on these little discussions. Your insight is, as always, immaculable. And to everyone listening, Thank you.
You're really struggling with big words today.
I don't know. I've been like thinking about things, trying to use more fancier stuff, but it clearly hasn't been working. I want to sound smarter. Is that so wrong?
Well, you know.
But anyways, to everyone listening, thank you so much, and have a wonderful night.